When we think about panic attacks, it's important to understand the trance like state so many of us find ourselves in before the panic attack arises. We are tranced out and in tune with fear, doubt, and a sense of imbalance, which leads to pulling our attention towards the things in our environment that will maintain and prolong this fear based trance. This phenomenon within you is known as the emotional refractory period, a state of perceptual focus on things that maintain the trance state that we're already in, and even changing the meaning of what is within our environment. Some may ask, why would my mind and body want to keep me living in a perpetual state of fear like this? Well, the answer to that is that your system doesn't know the difference between good and bad. Only your conscious mind does. Your system, on the other hand, has connected familiarity to safety, safety to what's been repeated most often. So if fear has been the leading state you found yourself in most of your life, that will be the state to maintain. However, with panic and anxiety sufferers, the goal isn't to get them into a trance, a new mental and physiological state of feeling and being. It's to get them out of the one they're unknowingly already in. In order to do this, we must jolt your mind and jolt your body out of the old and into confusion, followed by going into a more neutral and loving state. I want to give you an example of a state break that was executed by myself during a seminar I gave in 2017 in Los Angeles. The seminar was at full capacity, which was around 280 people. It was around the beginning of the full-day seminar, and I had the intuitive sense to make a statement in terms of what direction I wanted to go with the group, who had been dealing with anxiety either in the past or present. I asked a young lady to stand up and tell me about her panic disorder and anxiety-related story. So she willingly opened up to me and the rest of the crowd about her anxiety and how it was taking her down a path she didn't want to go. I watched her body language intently, like an eagle, surveying the environment, searching for their prey. As the minutes passed, her head dropped, her shoulders sank, and her words became more self-sabotaging. Now, in this very moment, I had two choices. Choice number one was to comfort her, tell her everything was going to be all right, and that she was in good hands. But I knew she had already been through talk therapy for years, and I knew that she had already received all of that on a daily basis. So it would only do temporary good, and I wasn't interested in temporary fixes. Choice number two was for me to do something absolutely unexpected, to break her out of her worry and fear trance and give her the opportunity to see through who she thought she was. So with a glass of water in my hand, I proceeded to launch all the water in that cup directly towards her face. And there was a good amount of water, I can tell you that much. Give a sufferer what they expect, and they'll stay the way they are forever. Give them something unexpected, and you open them up to what's possible. After the initial shock reaction and frustration by the young lady that I had just poured water over, I asked her to continue with her panic and anxiety story once again. This time, you could tell that she had much more difficulty finding the words to express her panic and anxiety feelings. She was using up much more of her conscious resources to explain her story. But eventually, she got there, to that place of feeling very sorry for herself once again. While she was explaining a second time, I had been filling my water up again, and when I felt that the time was right to splash another glass of water over her head and break her out of her state again, I did it. Drenched with water, I asked her to go back to her anxious story once again, which was a next to impossible task for her to perform this time, because she was so caught up in what had already just happened. She changed her clothes, came back, and her exact words after she came back were, "I feel clear." All I had done was splash her with water at the exact moment when the fear trance was at its most obvious to all of us. And yet, that had the power to move her into a clearer and emotionally more neutral place. At the end of the seminar, she came to me to let me know that she absorbed more knowledge from that seminar than any other piece of information she had gathered in respect to her panic disorder healing journey. A good state break includes two things. One, it must be surprising. And two, as mentioned, it must jolt the body and stop the fearful progress being made by the mind. During my healing from anxiety and panic disorder, I created a list of different state breaks which I used immediately to move myself from fear to neutrality, which included a cold shower, a dirty joke that my fiancé would tell me, playing as a child would in a playground, having someone punch me in the shoulder, running up a random hill, aggressively snapping an elastic band on my wrist. Challenge of the day. Today, I'd like you to use any one of these 3 state breaks in the exact moment when you feel like you're heading down a path of overthinking, over-fearing, over-catastrophizing. 1. You could take a cold shower. 2. You could snap an elastic band on your wrist. 3. You could have someone punch you in the shoulder. Play with these. Wear an elastic band throughout the day to snap you out of fear when needed. Take a cold shower when it becomes available, either when you're at home, at the gym, etc. And tell your closest supporter to punch you in the shoulder when you begin speaking doubtfully and fearfully. Put these in place now so you don't think to yourself, "What do I do?" throughout the day. If you don't need to use your elastic band or take a cold shower all day, that's great. But if you do need to break yourself out of a fearful state that normally takes you down the path towards panic, do so. No doubts, no fears, no hesitations. Just do it.